All right. So while we are in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis, we are also in the middle of the Israel-Palestine crisis. And while these two crises is not enough, we are faced with a third crisis. So right now I'm going to switch over my screen and identify the third major crisis that we are looking at in our lifetime. And here we go. Let me just switch over here. Check this out. Third major crisis, we call it the inflation crisis. And straight away, bam, we are hit. For those of us who own technology stocks, we are hit very badly because of this inflation crisis. PPI and CPI both are going up, and that is the reason why they are saying things are becoming more and more expensive. And as a result, everybody is re-looking at the Biden policy. This is major to us as investors in the market. So how do we interpret this? I'm going to pick out the relevant articles and let you understand how that has a direct impact to us moving forward for the next 6 to 60 months. Here we go. And I want you to take a picture of this so that you can trace back the article. First one that hit us was published on 11th of May, which is about 12th of May Singapore time. Dow tumbles 680 points, inverse decline since January as hot inflation reading spooks investor. All right, so that time, bam, we are hit with a surprise. How did this happen? Many people on Wall Street are already talking about it, but because the gauges shocked them. One of them is coming in with a hot PPI, producer index, jumping 6.2%. The consumer index is also jumping up, spike about, I think, 4%. We're going to take a look at the article later on. And then, while this is not enough, right now, we're talking about White House is hitting with a crucial moment. Gas shortages, disappointing jobs report, inflation bump arrive as administration tries crafting major economic package. We got excited last month because we calculated about 8 trillion worth of stimulus on stream flooding the market. And then this thing just hit us. So from here, I'm going to switch over and let you take a look on the original article itself, and then we're going to make some sense out of it. And let's see, can we dive further into this part of the article. All right. So this is the first article. And what I'm particularly concerned about, you look at right over here, this is like within that night itself on 12th of May, 3 indices crashed. And then we go down. Even as the index are all-time high because of the inflationary concern, right now they start to fall, but this is the one that will hit us the most, and that is tech shares. Okay, so shares of Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon, Apple all fell more than 2%, and Tesla fell more than 4%. Google dropped more than 3%. All right, so what I'm thinking about on this particular issue is that, is this the start or just an aberration or just an anomaly, or is this the start of subsequent drop? All right, so this is what we're going to discuss tonight. And then, of course, right here you have the CBOE volatility index. The fear gauge popped above 28, and this is not a good sign. And that is the first article for us. The second article is dive deeper into the actual metrics that economists are looking at. So the first one is the producer price index spiked 6.2% for the 12 months ended in April. The largest increase since the Bureau of Labor Statistics started tracking the data in 2010. the largest since 2010. We are in 2011, so over the past 1 decade. So you take this number and then you go down, and right over here, the one that PPI 4.6%, and then you have the CPI, Consumer Price Index, spiking 4.2%. And you know, right now everybody like to use the word spike or spiking. I think our company was born for a reason, to understand what the hell is going on, and then to try to attack the problem and see if we can present some solutions for all of us here tonight, all right? And I got the solutions in place, so I just need you to understand this backdrop first, all right? Do not panic. Then finally, this article about White House rethinking about their policy. This is major to us. And a few things to note. We're going to connect the dots later on, and then we're going to arrive at a conclusion. So these are the words right now being thrown around. Words like aberrations, like rare occasion. It's a meaning of like only for one time in history. Do they amount to one-time aberrations or unusual circumstances tied to the rebound from the coronavirus pandemic? And they use the word rebound. We know there's no rebound until the slowest guy has recovered. So these indicators have an impact on travel, hospitality industry. And again, this is the part that, you know, Singapore. Let me give you the backdrop first. When Singapore government makes a decision of a pseudo lockdown, it's a major decision. And we are so small as a country. Right now we're about 5.9 million population, I suppose. And then we are east to west, 50 kilometers, north to south, 25 kilometers. We have the army, the police, all working hand in hand, tackling the problem. And if Singapore cannot be the benchmark to reference, I don't know which country to benchmark. So if we are on a lockdown, and by the way, please don't go suicidal on me, wave your hands. I know this is like, today is like all doomy and all that. Don't worry, all right? This is just to warm you up. And if we are on a lockdown, you take Singapore as a benchmark and you look at countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, India, then you know how serious the problem is. All right, so this just happened this week. I was preparing for today's presentation and everything changed over the last 3 days. All my materials rewrite. And so I'm looking at this crazy policy idea, and you know, they talk about how they have galvanized so much trillions and so much trillions pumping in the economy. But right now, the inflationary concern is, you know, smoking everybody out. And that's the reason why they end off at this last paragraph here, not the last paragraph, this paragraph here, which is very scary. When you read it, it says, what is the real possibility? If inflation expectations are allowed to ratchet up, which certainly appears to be a real possibility, which the market has fallen, the cost economically and politically could be very high. All right, so we need to know about this, and then we go down to the very, very last paragraph. They show some charts over here. Please go and read this Washington Post article. You really got to just take your time, read it, and I bring you to the salient points, all right? And it ended off here. Here we go. The White House should not be scared. I understand the White House is getting hit by Republicans on this, but to me, the way to deal with it is to lean into the jobs report, whereas work search requirements and cracking down on people is not the right way to go. So that's how they ended off this article. And with that, we have finished on the third crisis